Ah, there we are. Now, how did one of Sai's gadgets venture into the void? More testing with that young girl Delavue, I would assume. That is how I got here, after all. I suppose I'll tell the story now that I have this device in front of me. Now that I think on it, it has been a while since I've had anything to talk to. I sometimes feel something else is in here with me other than inanimate objects, but it could just be my mind playing tricks on me. I am called Argo, or was called by those on the outside of the void when I lived there. For now, it is the name I still use in my own head when I think, but I suppose I could change it if I felt like it. I don't hate the name. I guess I just never thought that I could change it now if I so desired. Or would I even make it? Sorry. Not important at the moment. I was working in the Empire of Magia. Emperor Claudius had put Sai in command of his council, and Sai was keen on running experiments, a lot of which he couldn't run while he was helping Claudius run the Empire. So a lot of his plans went down a chain of command that was put in place to prep said experiments to save Sai time when he found the free time to do them. A bit complicated, I know, but I quickly made my way up Sai's ranks and found myself in charge of preparing these experiments. Most of which involved Magia's most special individuals, born with the most unique magic and abilities, none of which were more special than Delavue. Obviously, Sai wanted nothing more than to find the one spoken about in the Iron Prophecy, the one who would be strong enough to defeat Sybil, the ruler of the northern land of Mecca. But Delavue was just as important as the one spoken about in the Iron Prophecy. She could teleport from place to place. At first it was just short distances, and she used her gift to be a bit of a scoundrel around Magia, robbing from those more fortunate and slipping out before she could get caught. That is until Sai brought her in and gave her purpose. I don't think I've ever seen anyone's entire attitude change so quickly. We used to joke that Sai put some type of charming spell on her, but the more I got to know Delavue, the more I realized she only did these dastardly things to survive. And now, given the chance to be a part of something much greater than herself, was too good of an opportunity to pass up. Since Sai was so busy, I spent majority of the time with Delavue in his absence, making sure she was comfortable and prepared for the experiments once Sai was ready to execute them. This meant ensuring she was in tip-top shape, well-fed, and in the proper state of mind, whatever Sai deemed that to be. It changed from time to time. He would often want her studying and learning as much as she could about Mecca, since sending her there was part of the endgame. Other times he wanted to stress test her on situations that may test her both physically and mentally. If she had to run from Sybil or any of the law enforcements in Mecca, would she be fast enough to get away? If she found herself in a sticky situation in her normal everyday life in Mecca, could she talk her way out of it? Together, Delavue and I ran many tests and scenarios. We grew quite close, and to be honest, had a lot of fun role-playing these potential settings of her near future. I always feared that if Sai discovered how much fun we were having that I would be reprimanded. But he caught us in the act a few times and agreed that this bond between us was actually beneficial to Delavue's training, and that relationships like ours were important. I couldn't agree more, and luckily Delavue felt the same. Sai giving us this leniency led to more productive testing, put Delavue's training way ahead of schedule. As a matter of fact, I had never seen a Magian's power grow as much as hers in such a short amount of time. She may have not been on the radar as the one spoken about in the Iron Prophecy, but I would not rule out her potential to change all of Ruma. All of this growing, learning, and training led us to the day that Delavue was going to finally travel to Mecca. Watching her evolve over this time was a very special experience for me, and I was proud to be a part of it. But that day came with many nervous feelings. My anxiety was on another level, as we made preparations to send her over, and though Sai reminded me I needed to stay focused, I couldn't help but feel that I was going to lose my closest friend that day. There was only one way I could think of that ended with me seeing Delavue again after this day, and it was the only one where we actually win this war with Mecca. A complete shot in the dark. An ironic thing to say or think while I sit here recording this in the void, but it was the truth. We didn't have the one chosen by the Iron Prophecy, yet we were sending Delavue into enemy territory with the hopes of gathering intel on our greatest enemy. There were so many issues and flaws with this plan, and way too many variables that could lead to disaster, but Sai insisted that this would turn the tide of the war. The boy they sent with Delavue was simply called Z, one of Claudius's strongest warriors and a reliable soldier who would help keep Delavue safe and in line. She was still a bit of a wild card, a title we often used to describe her. Once we pulled the lever on the device Sai created to help give Delavue the juice she needed to cross through the magical gate, keeping us all out of Mecca, I had no idea if it worked. Mostly because I ended up here. I don't know what happened to everyone else in the room that day, but I suppose as the one who pulled the lever I was too close to the action. Something in Delavue's powers sent me here along with some of the equipment we used in the experiment, all of which was broken on arrival. Which makes my discovery of this device and the fact that it still works rather intriguing, to say the least. Since all I did was recap, and if I am able to send this floating back outside through the void, then I suppose I should record something of note about where I am, so maybe someone out there can help me return. This void is bizarre. Black walls, black floor, an unnerving emptiness that you never get used to. Things float in and out, and if I'm lucky I get to eat. But most of it is disgusting, straight up trash or things I've never seen before on Ruma. How it gets here is a mystery I'm still trying to solve, but at least I haven't starved to death yet. No other people make it in or out, it's just me, and potentially whatever else I think I'm hearing. A creature, an animal, a monster perhaps. Maybe another Ruman pulling the strings on a twisted game I didn't know I was playing. I do a lot of walking in here, and I have yet to reveal the strangest part of all of this. There are moments where I get glimpses of things that are happening outside, like I am a ghost, walking among the living, and witnessing key moments in our history. I stood between Claudius and Neron, as they had the confrontation that would unite Magia against Sybil. So close to them both that I could reach out and touch them, yet it was as if I simply passed through. They couldn't hear me, no matter how much I yelled, and they could not even sense my presence. Yet I was there. Where I sit now as I record this is what I have narrowed down to be the gate separating Magia and Mecca. If I can pass through in my new incorporeal form, then perhaps I can put my own mind at ease and find out what Delavue is doing behind enemy lines. Since her powers are what got me here, then perhaps her powers could get me out. Or at the very least give her a way to communicate with me while I am stuck here. For now I will send this device back out to drift, in hopes it reaches the ears of someone on the outside of this void, preferably Sai. Maybe with this knowledge he can free me, or even better, maybe with this knowledge he can learn to navigate the void, and we could use it to slip more Magians through Mecca's cracks. And so, with all of that being said, if this is the last time my voice is heard, then know that I have no regrets. If I could do it all again, help Sai, and help Delavue attempt to achieve the impossible, then I would do it. Knowing that I would end up here, I would still help because the cause is greater than any one life. Farewell from the void. Glory and honor to the Emperor. Glory and honor to Ruma.